Hi, welcome to this week's energy forecast. I'm Rachel Thompson Phillips, the creator of the BU Oracle cards, which will be the cards that I'm using to do this week's energy forecast. This week is for November the 12th through till November the 18th. So let's go in and have a look at what kind of energy is moving and circulating through this week. The cards that have come up for this week's energy forecast is, the first card is contentment. Wednesday through till Friday is the card of femininity, and Saturday and Sunday is moon cycles. So let's check out the very first card. Monday is the card of contentment. So it is there reminding you that we've had this yet another beautiful shift of energy. Last week has been really quite very intense, bringing up a lot of things to the surface for us to be able to examine and to be able to finally make that decision whether we want to keep holding on to some of these past hurts and repeated stories and old patterns of behavior, or whether we've actually finally made that commitment where we're just going, you know what, I've had enough of this and I'm not doing this anymore. That was the kind of energy that came up with the new moon last week. This week has been replaced with a really nice, soft, gentle energy that is coming through, which is really nice because it gives us almost like a little bit of a reprieve from all of that intensity. But it doesn't mean that all of that kind of undercurrent of that inner work that's needing to be done is not present. The contentment card is a reminder to let us know that we've reached that pivotal part where we've gone in and sometimes made that choice to be able to just completely surrender and just go, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm not going to live my life this way. And when we come to that beautiful place of contentment, we actually do surrender in a way where we are no longer fighting. It's not like we've given up. We've just made that commitment to ourselves where we've just decided enough is enough. And that in itself is so incredibly gorgeous because it brings about so much inner peace. And that is what we're all wanting at this point, is that gentle softness of inner peace, of where we choose that we decide to let go of limiting or areas that have been blocks for us in the past, rather than feeling like being pushed into letting something go, because we've come from that mindset we never actually usually let anything go. We just let it go for the time now. So what happens on Wednesday through till Friday is the card of femininity, and that is also about that gentle, nurturing, goddess type energy. It is a reminder that we have both equal parts of ourselves where we are both a masculine and the feminine. And the feminine card is wanting to come through to remind you and speak to you in a way that is gentle and encourage you to keep making steps forward, keep surrendering, keep letting go, but do it in a way that is gentle and nurturing for yourself. The femininity, I'll get that out. The femininity card is where we can come from a place of being in flow and being in alignment. And this all works gorgeously with the energy for this week of being that gentle, nurturing energy. Is also about being in flow and being in alignment. You'll just find that all of a sudden, any blocks or limitations that you've had before, they're going to still come to the surface, but you're going to be in that much flow within your own self where it's going to be almost like, the analogy I want to use here is like a river. A river will always journey on its way down, and there will be boulders along the way. Now, the boulders are the blocks and the limitations within our own self, but the water has a way in which just being able to cascade over and continue on its journey. That to me is what the femininity card is saying to us, to be in flow. Go over the boulders, go around your obstacles. You don't have to keep hitting the boulders or keep feeling like you need to, have that stop, start, go momentum. It's about being in that flow, allowing the water to cascade on its journey. You are the water. You are there to just cascade along through your journey. And that's what Wednesday and Friday is encouraging you to do, is to stay in that beautiful natural flow. And it sometimes the water analogy that I was just saying is also very, very symbolic of, the Scorpio new moon around water being our emotions, is that we don't need to fight with our emotions. Our emotions are triggered by our thoughts. We have a thought, and then that thought triggers an emotion, and that is what we respond to, is not so much the thought, but the emotional response that we give to that thought. This is this defining moment where we get to be in check with our own self to decide, are the thoughts that we are creating in our mind, that we are attaching an emotion to, are they conducive to the journey or to the direction that you want to go in? If they're not, you don't need to be able to give it that emotional response. That thought is still going to come up, most definitely, but we don't need to attach a low vibrating emotion to it to keep you in a highly reactive, triggered state. Which brings us through to Saturday and Sunday about the moon energy. Again, it's reminding you that the moon is moving into these cycles. Everything has its process. Everything is there for us to be able to clear the pathway, remove things that are no longer required within us anymore. But it's that human condition within us that wants to have that fight and hold on to everything, because we've come from a mindset where we think that if we let something go, we don't have a choice, or if we let something go, we worry because there's nothing to fill that space. It's okay to have that space of nothingness when you've let something go, because that is where you can truly start becoming clear around what it is that you would like to invite. I mean, you now have all this beautiful space from clearing and letting things go. The world is limitless, but we as humans, sometimes we forget that when we let something go, there's something even far greater waiting for you. But you just need to be able to get over the other side of letting something go first, and allow yourself to go through those internal processes. If you've decided to let something go, sometimes there's a moment of tears, there's a moment of reflection, there's a time of celebration. That's what I really want to remind you, is that even though there is such a big shedding, there is also a beautiful moment of celebration. For everything that you let go is a celebration of inviting the new. It's a celebration of no longer being weighted down by these old emotional baggage or these old issues that have been playing in your life for probably goddamn years. It is a time of rejoicing and celebrating. And the moon cycle is reminding you that these things are coming up because they're best for you. Just trust the process. Feel into what is coming up for you. Just sit quietly and ask yourself, as things come up to the surface, what is it that you would like to do with it? Remember, don't go into that reaction response, or just sit in that feeling, and then go in and ask yourself, do you really want to have all of these emotions that trigger you to react in a certain way, or to keep holding on to things? Is that what you want for yourself? Or do you want to allow yourself to see the limitation and the blocks for what they truly are, and decide from this moment on that you're no longer governed by them anymore, that you would like a whole new beginning, because that is the opportunity that is being presented to you. There are so many amazing gifts. There is so much magic to happen this week if you create the space, if you allow yourself to stay in the flow. Keep yourself going in through that processes of just trusting that everything is happening for a reason. We don't always have to understand what that reason is, and a lot of the times we don't understand what that is at that very given moment. That's why we have hindsight. We look back on it and go, oh, now I understand what that's about. So it can be frustrating, don't get me wrong. I totally know how that feels. But remember, your soul always knows its journey. Your soul knows your soul contract that you created before you moved in. So it knows that letting any of these things go is for the best for you. And this is where we can sit in that space and learn to be still. Because we as humans, we like to be busy. We want to keep going, that we don't understand that in the stillness sometimes is where we get to hear the magic. And the magic comes from within. So if we're so busy, we're being distracted by some of the greatest insights, the greatest wisdom, and the greatest guidance. So being still is your gift that you can give to yourself this week. So I hope that you have an incredibly fabulous week. Remember, it's a week of being gentle and being kind and being in flow, and allowing the water of emotions to just continue on its journey. Go around, go over things. You don't have to have that stop-start, highly emotive states. We can choose other options by being in flow, which keeps us in alignment, and therefore we have more space to be still. So have a fabulous week. Much love to you all. Please feel free to share this, and I'll see you again next week.